Union sources have warned that bin workers are poised to strike across the entire country as the Birmingham dispute enters its 6th week with no end in sight. Unite, one of the UK's largest trade unions, is considering staging a series of walkouts nationwide if similar pay disputes emerge. Asked whether the strikes would follow across the country, one source told The Telegraph, "That would be the response. If it was looking for our members anywhere like it is in Birmingham, with a quarter of the wages being cut, then of course there would be a response, and it would be up to members to vote, but it's not inconceivable. A lot of the funding for local authorities isn't sorted, and then you have austerity basically come back in, and people's wages start to be cut again. A lot of towns' responses are going to be people wanting to fight against that." The dispute sparked initially in Birmingham after the council removed the role of waste recycling and collection officer. Since then, workers in Birmingham have overwhelmingly rejected 2 offers from the council and refused to let up on their strike action. Unite claims this will leave 150 workers about £8,000 out of pocket. The council disputes these figures, saying that fewer employees will be affected and they will lose significantly less money. The cuts came after Birmingham Council moved to slash its spending after effectively declaring itself bankrupt in 2023. The council has been blamed for mishandling an equal pay dispute that has cost nearly £1.1 billion since 2012. This row marks the latest clash between Labour and the unions, with the government facing accusations that it's in hock to its paymasters. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage waded in on the matter, claiming that the unions were seeking to take advantage of what they see as a weak Labour government.
Well, the situation in Birmingham is truly awful. It's a proper national health hazard, because it could spread with many other strikes. It's a real worry. The reason the unions are doing this is they perceive the Labour government to be weak. Right at the start of Starmer's administration, he gave in to several quite big pay demands. That's why we're in the situation that we're in. How quickly Labour can resolve it, I just don't know.
Shadow Local Governance Secretary Kevin Hollinrake called the situation a total mess. It shows the impotence of Rayner and Starmer and their unwillingness to do anything about it. They're the puppets of the unions, and they obviously have no influence over the puppet master. Angela Rayner has since pleaded for the union bosses to accept the deal, but to no avail. Fears are now growing that this could lead to nationwide industrial action, with Unite staff in Sheffield also deciding to strike, and similar disputes emerging in Yorkshire and Cambridgeshire. Peterborough and Sheffield are among the cities at the greatest risk of disruption should bin strikes escalate. An ongoing dispute over pay between Peterborough Council and the GMB union continues, with a union spokesperson confirming that the strike action remains a possibility. "Our members in Peterborough are reviewing a revised pay proposal," the spokesman said. "We are currently balloting them on the offer." The action in Sheffield began because Unite has not been recognised by their employer, Veolia. Peterborough could also face disruption, with the GMB union confirming that the strikes are on the table amid an ongoing pay dispute. The impact of strikes on Birmingham residents has been severe, with reports of rats as big as cats feasting on uncollected rubbish. Residents recently spoke to GB News about their opinions on the strikes.
Down here to visit my mother-in-law with my wife, bring my kids with me, 2 girls. Their perception of Birmingham based on the bin strike is what a dump. And it's somewhere it puts them off living here, either working here or studying here. They just go, "Dad," despite my love for Birmingham, they go, "Dad, I'd never live in Birmingham." And the bin strike sort of exacerbates that perception.
No, I'm really not happy about the bin strike. I want the people to be able to go to work and get the pay they should get. I'd like to ask you if you'd go for £8,000 pay cut and see how you'd react. Hopefully, you join a union and you go on strike and you'd fight back for it.
I can understand their point of view, but on the other side, when they're leaving Birmingham to have such a bad name across the country, because everybody's just focusing on it, it's not good for Birmingham citizens to be questioned, because I get questioned from other people to say, what's it really like and stuff.
David Locke, a 48-year-old carer, said that sympathy for the bin men is wavering now, with some residents considering their own strikes on council tax payments. Birmingham was recently given permission by Angela Rayner to raise council tax by 7.5%. Birmingham City Council called Unite's decision incredibly disappointing, saying that residents simply deserve better than repeated walkouts. A spokesman for the council said, "Our door remains open. The council must deliver improved waste services for our citizens." National Lead Officer for Unite, Onai Kassab, spoke to GB News about the decision to continue strike action despite 2 offers from the council.
The offer, and if we can call it an offer, is really inadequate. It deals with one very small area, it deals with a minority of people, and ultimately it means a pay cut. So when the council talk about nobody needs to lose pay, it is plain wrong. The proposal that they have put forward leads to a pay cut. It really is that straightforward and that simple. But also in the proposal, they failed to discuss what they're going to do with the drivers, because in the negotiations, they told us that they are looking at downgrading drivers' pay. That goes down from £40,000 to £32,000 a year. That's around 200 people. None of that was mentioned in the proposal. So we need to know what's going on with pay for drivers as well. And it's inadequate. That's why it was turned down.
So you're saying now that there are two sides to this. It's not just the waste and recycling collection officer role, which is initially what this dispute started over. There's now a situation with drivers too, and it's assurances for both of those before a deal can be reached.
Yes, I mean, some weeks ago we did let it be known that the employers in negotiations had put that on the table, that they were going to be having a go at drivers' pay. We can't have a dispute where we try and resolve the worko role and then the employer comes along and says, while we're trying to resolve that, by the way, here's what we're going to do to drivers' pay, potentially impacting another 200 people. That is not how you resolve a dispute. So now, as a result of that, in order to resolve this dispute, both sets need to be sorted, both the worker role and the driver pay.
Now, in the offer, it's thought that compensation was offered to people ranging between £7,000, so for some people £16,000. Now, that for a lot of people might seem like a lot of money, but why, therefore, was that rejected? Is it because of long-term assurances on pay? Why, for you, was that compensation figure rejected by your members?
I think two reasons. First of all, this is a lump sum. So not everybody's going to be getting the £16,000. Let's be very clear about that. It's for a minority of people. But you can take that, but then you see a sharp drop in your pay. That's the reality. So it may be pay protection for a little while, but you will then see a sharp drop in your pay. And also the fact that the driver's pay wasn't included in the proposal, about what's going on there, what's happening. Look, because what we can't allow to happen is us say, well, look, they didn't include it in the paperwork, maybe they're not going to do it. Let's close our eyes and ears and walk away and maybe they'll forget. Absolutely not what's going to happen. You know, what we can't allow is a situation where we sort out the worker role, he go back to work, and then lo and behold, driver's pay is attacked at that point as well. It's all got to be done now. And look, it is resolvable. There are solutions. Although this is a big, huge dispute with massive repercussions, it is resolvable. We have put solutions on the table, and we'll go back into the meetings tomorrow, and we will put those solutions again to the employer and hope that they listen.
What are those solutions?
Well, look, as far as the driver pay is concerned, the issue is this. Without going to all of the technicalities and going into the reads, it's about job evaluation. It's about how you evaluate and grade a job. And my question is, what is a driver doing today that he or she is not going to be doing tomorrow? So there should be no change to that grade. So just leave it alone. And as far as the worker role is concerned, there are a number of solutions and resolutions. I don't want to put all of those on camera to the media now. I want to put those to the employer tomorrow, but we can work through those.
And there are reports today around situations of these strikes happening across the country. What is the possibility of that?
That very much depends on employers. You know, we're not going to go looking for industrial disputes. However, if local authorities or contractors who provide refuse services for local authorities insist that they are going to cut the pay and conditions of our members, then we make absolutely no apology for the fact that we will defend those members' pay and conditions.